Well, before we look at the recurring anti-Semitic environment on college campuses, I want to talk trade for just a moment. This morning, President Donald Trump announced a historic trade deal between the United States and the United Kingdom. This deal, according to the White House, grants American companies unprecedented access to the U.K. markets while bolstering U.S. national security. In addition, the Office of the U.S. Trade Representative says that this sets the tone for other trading partners to achieve reciprocal trade. So how does this deal achieve such lofty expectations? Here to discuss this and more, Congressman Tim Walberg, chairman of the House Education and Workforce Committee and a member of the House Committee on Natural Resources. He represents the 5th Congressional District of Michigan. Congressman Walberg, welcome back to Washington Watch. Always good to see you.
Tony, it's always good to see you as well, and thanks for giving me a chance to step back into common sense.
Well, let's talk trade first, because you come from the state of Michigan where trade's pretty important. What does this deal mean?
Well, I think it's a start, and I think it's an evidence that what the president has been saying all along, that this is a tool that will work for restoring America and setting in place an understanding with our allies around the world who, in many cases, we've been helping them out for many, many years since the World Wars. It's time for them to step up the plate and understand that it's not a free pass anymore. So you have to treat us at least fairly on the trade end. So what we've seen today with this trade deal that has been consummated with the U.K. Says a number of good things, I think, for our auto industry, gives us further involvement, opportunity to export our cars to Europe, to the U.K. especially. It also helps my farmers, the farmers in my district that are concerned but have been strong and willing to take a deep breath and hope that would work out. Now we get some significant trade opportunities in the UK, $5 billion, what I understand, opportunity for new exports from the U.S. to the U.K. Farmers, ranchers, producers that we have, including what I've seen, $700 million in ethanol exports. I guess I'd rather see ethanol in many cases going there, and $250 million in other agricultural products like beef grown in my district. So those are good things. Those are a start, and I think it gives an indication to other countries as well as to our own citizens that these trade deals will take a bit of time, but when they come to fruition, they'll serve us well.
So as you alluded to, and the White House stated, this would be a blueprint. I guess this mints a blueprint because it's one of the early negotiated deals for other trading partners. So what's the timeline here? When will this be implemented with the UK?
Well, as I understand, it's working out. I haven't seen an absolute date on it, but the fact that it's been announced indicates that it's coming quick. And we know how the president works. He wants to work faster as opposed to slower. And so I think that coming out and doing this press announcement indicates that it's not going to be long. And with the other deals that are in the pipeline, just last week sitting behind Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent in the Rose Garden for the National Day of Prayer, he at that day was, at least it was said by the president, that Scott was on the phone with 30 other countries that very day. And I think that indicates things are ramping up. And if the UK goes this direction, I think there are other countries that are going to want to do similar things.
And the president has alluded to a major announcement next week during his Middle East tour. And those close to the White House, sources in the White House, suggest that that has something to do with the economy as well. I want to move on to another issue before we run out of time here, Congressman Walberg, and that's something that's really at the heart of the committee work that you're doing right now. In fact, a committee hearing you had yesterday hitting this issue of anti-Semitism. That continues on college campuses. Ironically, as you were holding a hearing yesterday, we saw on the campus of Columbia University masked individuals protesting against Israel, the Jewish people, taking over the library there.
Yeah, and desecrating the library it is. I received a video from one of our Columbia student friends, a senior there, that was in the library at that very time, took videos of what was going on, the defacing of library property, the takeover for over 4 hours, from the freedom to use that library by all students. And then ultimately, thankfully, the New York Police Department came in and gave a bum's rush to these people who are abusing their rights as citizens, or I guess we'll wait to see how many of them were on visa with student visas to study here. If we find people that were in that conflagration, as it were, who are legal immigrants under a visa but have abused their opportunity here by demonstrating in such a way support of terrorist organization like Hamas, I'm hoping to see that they'll be removed from the country, and they'll have to take their education someplace else because America's free, but the opportunity isn't for people who will abuse the freedom that they have here. So we're going to continue pushing back, and had 3 college presidents in front of us yesterday from across the nation, trying to show that it's not just at the Eastern liberal Ivy League schools or places like Northwestern and others. It goes to smaller colleges like Haverford and in Pennsylvania. We looked at DePaul, which was a surprise that the largest Catholic school in the country was involved with this anti-Semitism on the campus. And then Cal Poly San Luis Obispo also is in front of us. I think 2 of the presidents showed that, at the very least, by having this hearing, they've jumped up and are attempting to do some things that I think will bring about some control. But Haverford gave us no indication that she understood at all what potential there is for her and her school to have significant problems by being unwilling to make it very clear that this type of activity goes beyond simple First Amendment liberties. When you start to take away people's free living out of those liberties on the campus, and you put people in fear simply because who they are, what they are, their nationality, their race, their position as a Jew that they can't change, that's wrong, and that's un-American.
Well, it's disturbing that we're still seeing this type of activity, although not surprised. This ideology has been around for a long time, this anti-Jewish, anti-people of the book. We've seen it. It's rooted in history. But what I would say, Congressman, is a bit encouraging is the response yesterday on Columbia's university's campus, which is a little different than what we saw last year, where they were coddling these brats. They were, instead of coddling these thugs, they were arresting them, which I would say is a result of, in part, of the hearings that you've been having, that you're showing that you're serious. You're not going to put up with this stuff.
We are serious. We believe in free expression. We believe in the First Amendment liberties in this country, but they cannot be abused. And in talking with the ACLU attorney there yesterday, he certainly didn't get it. We were not decrying speech, even some very unsavory and mean and awful speech. That happens. But when it is used to incite riots, when it's used to incite people to go after other individuals, in this case Jews, and take away their freedom for an education that is enjoyable, meaningful, and is without fear, and when it incites people to follow these same students to their residences, promoting further fear, and when it causes them to beat up students to the point that they have to have surgery for broken wrists, one student that was there yesterday, and others who had concussions as a result, that goes way beyond free speech. We have to stand against that, and it's un-American to boot. And I think that's what's come from the indoctrination that's gone on with liberal faculty, progressive, socialist faculty on campus that do not like America. In fact, they hate America, and they want to change it.
Well, and the good news, under the current administration, it's not going to be funded with taxpayer dollars. Congressman, always great to see you. Thanks so much for joining us, Tim.
Good to be with you, Tony. Have a great day.